Hi, my name is Mark Scozzafave. I'm the Director of Music Ministries at Old St. Patrick's Church in Chicago, Illinois. As part of my role, I'm responsible for helping to plan, secure, and provide music for the many weddings that we offer on weekends throughout the year. The purpose of this video is to give families and couples the tools that they need to begin that process of choosing the music and planning for their wedding music. Over the course of this short video, I will guide you through that process of what it takes to evaluate what's available and make your selections. And then the second half of the video, I will go through a typical wedding liturgy and highlight a few specifics of the elements as we go through that. The wedding music ministry at Old St. Patrick's Church is an extension of what we do on Sundays, and it's a tradition of great music that we're always proud of. And so I'm happy to be able to help lead that and to offer the dedicated professional cantors and orchestral musicians that we use and Irish instrumentalists that come together and help make your wedding all the more festive. So step one will begin with familiarizing yourself with the wedding music website. This is where everything will start and finish for you. Step one is to review the policies and the guidelines. That explains that all music selections have to come from our Repertoire Catalog. Musicians are all booked and cantors through me and my team. There's notes on what's most suitable for liturgical celebrations musically as well. Now, step two is where it gets a little bit more fun. And that's where we have our Repertoire Catalog, and you can see all of the music that's available to you. When you go to that Step 2 website about repertoire, you'll find that it's very extensive and varied, and I think it will fit your needs in surprising ways. When you go to the top of that page, you will see a PDF of a wedding fair workbook. We're not currently scheduling live in-person wedding fairs, but this would be a resource that we would hand out if we did, and so we're offering it digitally to you. Also, there are 2 video recordings of previous wedding fairs in their entirety that you can review. Finally, step 3 is to review the cantors that we offer. There's pictures and examples of each of them singing. You can also hear them singing on the repertoire selections page, which has a little MP3 player that you can hear part of a song. The final step then is to submit your request form. And that request form contains all of your cantor preferences, musicians, instrumentalists, your music selections, and I ask that all happens in one comprehensive step. That helps us offer a consistent process and organized. So I appreciate your cooperation with that part of this. When you fill out that form, you will specify your cantor preferences. Remember, they all have day jobs and families, and so I need 3 options. I will work first, second, and third preferred order, but please give me options to work with. For instruments, I need to know how many, which ones. Those are available. All are $225 per person, and that's a separate charge that you'll pay when you get closer to the wedding day. We will automatically book a pianist for you, and that's also a separate fee that's not included in the church fee. All weddings have a baseline requirement of 1 cantor and a pianist. As I said earlier too, all musicians and music are to be booked through me and my team. If you're marrying elsewhere, not at Old St. Pat's, that's great. I'm happy to provide some contact information for you to reach out to some of these professionals on your own. 4 to 6 weeks prior to your wedding, we'll have a final confirmation that gets emailed out, and that will have payment information in there for you and a list of the final resources and selections. About 3 weeks before your wedding is when the money is all due, and that can be electronic fund transfers or checks. And finally, if you're interested in having a program for your wedding, there's information on that process and that offering on our website. You'll contact Laura Higgins for that. So now we'll get into the wedding liturgy itself, and I'll spend just a few minutes going through it from top to bottom. It actually begins 15 minutes before your wedding start time. So if you're a 3 p.m. wedding, Your prelude music will start at 2:45, and you have the option of choosing up to 3 selections for that. Either way, we'll play music. If you don't specify anything, or if you specify musician's choice in your form, we'll fill that in with something that's befitting the rest of the ceremony. There are instrumental options that are listed in the repertoire page, and there's also some vocal options. This can be sung if you'd like as well. Be Thou My Vision, I Have Loved You, The Prayer, You Raise Me Up, all good choices. A lot of the instrumental options lean toward the more classical, or if you're having an Irish trio, it would be most likely something more in the Irish idiom. As you're thinking about music, selections, and cantors, be sure to note that all of the cantors can sing all of the music. So if you want this song with this cantor, that's absolutely fine. I've made sure that the music we offer and the cantors that I offer can sing everything. As I said earlier, every wedding requires 1 cantor and 1 pianist. But if you'd like to add to that, it's a great opportunity to really fill the Old St. Patrick's church space with extra beautiful music. Cellos, strings have a great depth and resonance to them in the space, woodwinds such as flute, of course the grandeur of a trumpet. You may consider a whole string quartet if you would like, or like I said, the Irish instrumentalists, that is a trio of instruments that can play a very wide and diverse body of music. So after the prelude is done and the family is seated, that last prelude is often designated for seating of the family, is when the processional music begins. And there's usually 2 components to this, a wedding party and a bride. Could be 1 song or it could be 2, depends on your personal preference. You have some classical options like the bridal chorus from Wagner, Canon in D, some cantata music from Bach, Wacht it auf, for example. Or you may go for a more contemporary sound such as Gabriel's Oboe or Ed Sheeran's Perfect or 1,000 Years. Another great option is the Jupiter theme by Gustav Holst. There will be a change in song if the bride is going to come down to a different song. And then once everybody is in the front of the church, then we begin. Usually on a Sunday, there would be a gathering song. We don't really do that for weddings. We just kind of get right into it. So the first thing that we'll have then is the first reading, and then the psalm. The psalm is led by your cantor. There's a couple of options that I specify here. Psalm 128, Blessed are those who love you. 118, This is the day. If you'd like a bilingual option, Tony Alonso's El Señor es Compasivo is a good choice. Holy is your name. There are other options too. If you have a favorite psalm that you hear us do on Sundays, please put that forward and we'd be happy to try and honor that. Then a gospel acclamation, some form of an Alleluia is chosen. Celtic Alleluia, Pilgrim Alleluia, something more in a gospel idiom such as Alleluia, give the glory, or even a simple chant. So after the gospel and the homily, that's when you get married. Following that, there's some more options for music. The unity candle is one. You may have that as part of your ceremony, or you may not. It's certainly not required. If you do have something for the unity candle, I like to have something that's very brief and short and doesn't take away from the moment. We want your guests' eyes essentially on you and on the candle that you're lighting to kind of honor your recent exchange of vows. So something just short like Watermark by Enya, Love Endures by James Moore is nice. Or again, you can just put in musician's choice and I or whoever's playing will just fill that 30 seconds or a minute with some nice music. Go Light Your World by Chris Rice is another good choice. Now, if you're having a full Mass, the next thing that would happen is we go into the Liturgy of the Eucharist with the offertory, or the preparation of the table. If you're not doing a full Mass, hang tight, we'll pick that back up in just a couple minutes. But there would be a piece of music while the altar is being prepared. I've got listed Covenant Hymn or the Cloud's Veil, but there's many other options, and you'll see in the Wedding Fair workbook or on the repertoire page that there is an option to have alternate use for each of these songs. So something that was in the prelude, like Be Thou My Vision, would also work at offertory. The Mass parts are sung. We use Marty Haugen's Massive Creation. And then during communion, you have the option of having a vocal solo or perhaps something that you want your guests to sing along with a little bit as well. Panis Angelicus or How Beautiful are great solo options. Something like With Great Love or Taste and See or I Am For You by Rory Cooney is something that you may be able to kind of invite your guests to sing along with a little bit as well. Usually one selection at communion is all that's needed. Whether or not you did a full Mass, the next option that you have is to do a prayer or a visit to the Blessed Mother. And that's the statue of Mary that we have on the south side of Old St. Patrick's Sanctuary. If you do this can be something that you do with a family member or a parent, or perhaps the bride and groom go there together and just share a moment in prayer. Some setting of the Hail Mary is what we most often do there. You have the Schubert Ave Maria, probably the most common. You have the Bach-Gounod setting of the Ave Maria, another option that works well, a little bit more classical and artful. And of course, there's Carrie Landry's Hail Mary, Gentlewoman. Some setting of the Hail Mary is what we use here. And then finally, the recessional music will happen after you are pronounced a new couple by the presider. There are usually two selections here, recessional music and postlude music. The recessional music is just enough to cover you and your wedding party to get back down the aisle. And then a postlude is something that we will play while your guests start to leave their pews. If you only pick one song, we'll just stretch it out so it fits. Not a big deal. There's one more option and one instrument I haven't talked about yet, and that's bagpipes. If you would like to have bagpipes be part of the recessional, that's the most common place, is that after you are pronounced a couple, the piper will come halfway down the aisle, begin to play. It's dramatic and loud, it's lovely, and then they will pipe you out of the church. And that often occupies the place of a postlude as well. All of those options are available when you fill out the form. I know I've gone kind of fast, but the beauty of the video is you can rewatch it or pause it or give thought to the things I'm saying and go look or listen to things as you go. So start with the website, go through the process of steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Step 5 is submitting a worship aid request if you would like to do that. Reach out to me or my team at weddingmusic@oldstpats.org. That's an email address, and we'll help you with any of this. But one beauty of having this all on the website is that in many ways you can share this experience in a virtual way with your family. It's a self-serve way to go through and see what we offer and build your ceremony for you as you go. And then when I receive the request form from you, we'll get to work booking your instruments. I'll shoot a note to you if I have any questions or if something looks a little off. And then we'll go through, we'll follow the process, and we'll make beautiful music happen for your wedding. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to working with all of you.